Self-voicing enabled. Self-voicing disabled. Self-voicing enabled. Hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. Version 0.1.9. Hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake, version 0.1.9. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake, version 0.1.9. Full fan remake and translation of the Hetalian Horror Show by the Hetascanlations team. Remake credits, eosonera, sunflowerpieivan. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake, sunflowerpieivan, Hetascanlations. Hetascanlations. Seven nations are going together for the International Conference of Scary Stories. Do you want to come and listen to what they have to say? It all started with those words. Selected. Text speed bar. Selected. Auto forward time bar. Auto forward. Selected. Auto activate. Selected. Text speed bar. Activate. Select source IBM Flex Sans source Hansen MF Visu Mario. You selected. BGM S voice volume bar. BG music volume SFX volume BGM SF 7 nation 07 01 7 nations are go selected. 7 nation selected. 7 nations are going together for the International Conference of Scary Stories. Ooh, me. Sorry. I actually wanted to do it myself. Ooh, me. Sorry. I actually wanted to do it myself. Are you okay? Debug menu. Jump to story 1. Jump to story 2. Jump to debug menu. Splash screen. Debug menu. Jump to meeting. Debug menu. Hetascanlations. Hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. Hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. Version 0.1.9. Display. Save game names. Show save thumbnails. Skip unread text. Keep skipping after choices. Hetascanlations. Hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. Seven nations are going together for the International Conference of Scary Stories. Do you want to come and listen to what they have to say? It all started with those text speed activate. 7 nations are going together for the International Conference. Me. Select text speed bar activate. Me. Sorry. I actually wanted to do it myself. One of the Magic Club members, ENG. Yar, Mr. You-know-who, cough cough, keeps pestering me about when I'm going to attend. Auto 4, one of the Magic Club members, ENG. Yar, Mr. You-know-who, cough cough, keeps pestering me about when I'm going to attend. But, well, my boss says I don't have the time for such things. Auto forward time, activate. But, well, my boss says I don't have the time for such things. Nah, I get it, same here. Mine tells me I should go get a side hustle if I've got time for fun. Really? But you are just loitering around all the time, right? Screw you. You're going to the meeting by yourself. Selected. Auto forward time bar. Activate. Screw you. Screw you. You're going to the meeting by yourself. How could you treat your friend like this? I'm begging you. There's no one else I can ask. What about Mr. Russia? What? Well, his mere presence is frightening in and of itself. I will not deny that. Please, I'll give you some sweets. I'm too old to be bribed with sweets. How old are you this year? Well, about 3 something. You aren't 300 years old, are you? No. 3,000. One more time. 30,000. There's no way. I am 30,000, which means the strength of my nation is also 30,000. You're stretching that. I am not. Anyway, I'm your senior, so I'm not going. Nope. That doesn't make any sense. Please. Just go. You and I are friends. Humming. Nope, don't walk around me humming a weird song. Stoop. MMH, humming. Why? What should I do now? I've got it. If you do this for me, you'll stand out. What? You'll be able to speak on the same level as everyone else. So, like what? Well, as a moderator, you'll be able to lead all the people who always talk down at us. You remember our recent history? Our recent history. Bulgaria and Romania again? Those two countries have just been throwing a wrench into things since they joined. That's why I was against it. Teacher. Bulgaria and Romania have moved over here for work, but they're getting in the way of everything. Selected. Activate. Teacher. Bulgaria and Romania have moved over here for work, but they're getting in the way of everything. Does the EU really need Bulgaria and Romania? I think it would be better to kick them out and accept Turkey instead. Ugh, damn it. Damn Eurozone newspapers. They're just writing this stuff without knowing how the people really feel. They're so harsh, sob. We don't have any money. We have no choice but to work until we have the funds to rebuild the country. Don't cry, Bulgaria. I didn't bring this up because I wanted to make you sad. I'll do it. Bulgaria. I'll step up as a moderator and show off my presence as a country. That's right, Bulgaria. That's the spirit. Go for it. And I'll be the main character in this game. And that's how Mr. Bulgaria ended up heading for the conference's meeting room to hear the scary stories of the 7 countries gathered there today. I'm now the moderator of the Scary Story Conference. Given that I've barely shown up so far other than to poke Italy with a stick, I've made quite a lot of progress since then, haven't I? Besides poking people with sticks, there were a lot of "what are you even doing" moments during World War II, but the whole country was in disarray, so that's just how it was. Yeah. So, go easy on me, meow. Someone once told me that people will forgive pretty much anything if you tack a meow at the end of it, meow. Meow meow, I say. Meow meow. While I was meowing around, I arrived at the meeting room for the Scary Story Conference. Speaking of, this building has plenty of safety measures in place so that a large number of people can evacuate in case of an emergency, like if the power goes out, or somebody breaks in. In other words, I should be safe even if Enbert summons something or a Marybot brandishes his super strength while we're in the middle of telling our scary stories. Maybe. That's why I'm trusting that I won't get hit right in the face with an American super ball the second I open this door. If that were to happen, I'd be sent flying like a rag doll. I brace myself and open the door. Oh, Bulgaria. I was busy, but I showed up anyway. I would like a word of thanks from you. Okie dokie. Thanks, dude. And, thanks for those questionable portraits. No way. Those were already there when I arrived. I definitely didn't draw. Mr. England, don't you have a tendency to draw portraits whenever you see a blackboard? I bloody told you you're wrong. Thanks for the portraits, dude. Thanks. Excuse me. Bulgaria said. You're already here? Sorry to keep you waiting. Today is a scary story conference, correct? Nah, I just got here, too, so it's no problem at all. This is where the scary story meeting is taking place. Not only that, but there's already been some paranormal activity on the blackboard, so let's show some appreciation for England's drawings. Hell, like I said, I'm not the one who drew them. Hello, England said. Those are quite adorable drawings, aren't they? Hey, Japan. They're not mine, but you could say that. They're not mine, though. You're already here? Hello, Germany essay. Yeah, Germany. Why do you scream every time you see me? Why shouldn't I? You're always making me out to be the bad guy, you know? Stop. I'm doing my best too. I am not trying to make you out to be the bad guy. Your grades haven't been so great, so I just want you to make more of an effort and work a bit harder. But I guess I may have come across too harsh in order to rush the results. I'll be more careful from now on. You mean it? Thanks a bunch, dude. Mr. Germany, you're being a softie again. We're all doing our best. Of course you'd sound straight. Mr. Bull, please just accept this as Mr. Germany's tough love. Please stop dedicating yourself to being the voice of reason. You're totally right. Finland. He has a tendency to get overprotective over even the most pathetic sorts. You have to understand that. Oh, is that so? I'm sorry. How tactless of me to interfere with what Germany likes. Oh, but I definitely think it's more endearing to be a bit flawed. Yeah. Wait a minute. Aren't you kind of making me sound like a good-for-nothing who's soft on good-for-nothings? That's the case, innit? That's absolutely not true. Hey, I heard there was a scary story meeting today. Did I find the right place? America said. Hello, could that be? Wait, those people behind you. Asterisk Di Jones. Asterisk my wave. And Bear GR asterisk LLS, right? I'm glad you noticed them. I gathered an all-star horror cast for today's meeting. But the only horror-ish one is that first one. And aren't the other two British? No problem. Get ready for the scary stories they're going to tell, guys. I'm psyched for them, too. Whoa. Oh, Romania said that it's only us countries this time around, so would you mind having them all leave? What did you say? You don't want to hear their scary stories? Why, I want to hear them. Since this is a scary story conference, we want to hear your own story, Mr. America. Okay, gotcha. Thanks for coming today. Asterisk die. Asterisk my. Bear GR asterisk LLS. Everyone, please don't die. See you, guys. That was amazing. I've never seen them in person before. But they left so quickly. I watch a lot of American TV, so I'm really happy. You got that excited over them. Speaking of which, the TV shows you make have kind of an easygoing feel to them, Finland. Yeah. Everyone gives them rave reviews, saying that if you watch them for too long, you'll be so relaxed your brain will go to sleep. Rave reviews. I'm sorry, everyone. I came at a bad time. I didn't greet you, so please allow me to do so now. Oh, I'm sorry, too. Moi, Mr. Japan. Hello, Japan. Hey, Japan. Again. Thank you for joining us today, Japan. All at once. Thank you. I'm looking forward to today's meeting. Hi. That's the second time I've greeted you. Yes, it is the second time. Thank you very much once again. No probs, dude. So, it's been 20 minutes since the scheduled time, but 2 people still haven't shown up yet. Spain is one of them, right? Don't get your hopes up about him being on time to anything that isn't important business or something where he can show his boss side. I bet he's sunbathing in a cafe right about now or something. Shall we get started right away? Okie dokie. Then let's get started. Should we really be starting off the scary story so listlessly? And so, the International Conference for Scary Stories started off on a light and fluffy note. Chapter 1, Finland's Scary Story. Wow, is it really okay for me to go first? Whenever European or Nordic countries are listed, I'm always in the middle or at the end, so I'm kind of happy to be the first one. Oh, Mr. Bull, just one question. By scary story, do you mean like, a ghost story? Or should it be a story where the people in it are what's scary? Whatever, as long as it's scary. Okay, then. In that case, I have the perfect one. It happened in the early winter. The sun is barely visible at my house at this time of year. It can get kind of gloomy without the sun around. So I got the urge to go somewhere where I wouldn't be able to see any people or machines or anything man-made. So, I packed some food and coffee and went into the woods. What the? How spooky. What? I haven't even gotten to the scary part yet. Ahem, anyway. I got enough food together for a few days and headed deep into the forest. The sun's only out for a few hours, so you have to be quick to find a campsite. It's nice, being out in nature. The moss in the forest makes sounds when you step on it. And the sound is different depending on what kind of moss you step on. Rustle rustle. Squish squish. Crunch, crunch. Puff puff. I like the crunch crunch ones the best. The season for fall colors had ended, and the forest had become all grayish, but the moss and the berry trees still offered little touches of color. It was nice to just take a walk through the forest enjoying the sounds and the colors. I could hear myself breathing, my clothes rustling, and my own footsteps. And sometimes, the calling of birds. Day-to-day life and all its noise felt like a distant memory. On the way, I met a wild goat who was the same color as the forest. When I waved, it returned my greeting with a look. They're such sweet creatures. Auto forward. On the way, I met a wild goat who was the same color as the forest. When I waved, it returned my greeting with a look. They're such sweet creatures. Ah, but please watch out for moose. They're known to run people over when they're drunk. It's something that I have to deal with every year as well. They're way too strong. I was trotting along, and there was this hollow that was just right, so I decided to spend a few days there. The forest is nice at night, too. Although the nights are incredibly long, the sounds and the sky are livelier than they are during the day. I would hear owls all around me, and sometimes they would call together, like in a chorus. Meanwhile, the stars in the sky would be spinning at speeds too small to notice. To us, they may look like shimmering dots drawn onto the sky, but every single one of them is a giant celestial object. Space is so huge. While I was drinking my coffee, I would wander in and out of my thoughts, and just gaze at whatever was around me. That's how I spent my time. After a while, I was getting sleepy, so I decided to call it a night. I'm usually pressed for time, but when I'm in the forest, I have the freedom to stay up or go to sleep whenever I want. The next morning, I woke up, and everything was pure white. Of course, it had snowed. Snow. Snow out. The trees in the forest, the ground, as well as the moss and berry trees which had left just a bit of color, everything was completely white. And I was surrounded by pure white that nobody had stepped on yet. I was so happy, I started making footprints. Normally, I'd be careful where I step, but I was so captivated by the beauty of the snow, that I'd gotten careless. Slosh. The last step I took felt light all of a sudden. Then. Slosh 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 slosh. My feet were rapidly getting sucked into the snow. My feet were rapidly getting sucked into the snow. This area was dangerous. It was nothing more than some snow covering a thin sheet of ice over the lake. I carelessly stepped onto it, and now my weight was pulling me down, feet first, through the thin ice. Calling for help would be hopeless, since I'd specifically gone somewhere secluded. To make matters worse, I'd completely left my cell phone behind. All I had in my pocket was salmiakki. Salmiakki is pretty tasty, but it wasn't going to save me from the crisis I was in. I tried to plant my other foot firmly on the ground, but it lost balance on the fluffy snow. Crack crack crack. The ice broke dramatically. I tried to plant my other foot firmly on the ground, but it lost balance on the fluffy snow. Crack crack crack. The ice broke dramatically. It was no use. I was sinking. ERM. Since we're countries, I couldn't have died from this, as all of you know, so what you're hearing might not sound scary. ERM. Since we're countries, I couldn't have died from this, as all of you know, so what you're hearing might not sound scary, but I was terrified. Also, we suffer just like humans do. Isn't it awful to have to keep suffering while you're still alive? And here I was, my body submerged in a freezing cold lake. I was in agony. I couldn't breathe. Is what I thought for a moment. It felt as though something snagged onto my hood. I can't confirm what had happened, but my body was pulled out in one fell swoop. It felt as though something snagged onto my hood. Is what I thought for a moment. It felt as though something snagged onto my hood. I can't confirm what had happened, but my body was pulled out in one fell swoop. And here I was, my body submerged. And here I was, my body submerged in a freezing cold. And here I was, my body submerged in a freezing cold lake. I was in agony. I couldn't breathe. Is what I thought for a moment. It felt as though something snagged onto my hood. I can't confirm what had happened, but my body was pulled out in one fell swoop. A splash. Then, a small impact. As this happened, I felt the wind on my wet skin. Was I, on the snow? Had my body moved from the bottom of the lake to the surface on its own? What could have happened? Someone else seemed to be there. Who could it have been, deep in this forest? I was steadily losing consciousness. And I suddenly passed out. When I came to, I was sleeping in my own house. I thought maybe it had all been a dream, but the clothes I'd almost drowned in were in the dryer. It must have been a fairy. A fairy helped me. But whenever I say that, I'd get things like, "You must have been drinking," and "One F us," smirk. And no one would believe me, so I've kept it to myself until today. Hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show remake. And no one would believe me, so I've kept it to myself. And no one would believe me, so I've kept it to myself until today. Isn't it amazing that there are fairies who help people, even in this day and age? In a way, it is kinda scary, right? Thanks for that atrociously light and fluffy story, dude. Light and fluffy. I'm sorry. I thought I was telling a pretty seriously scary story. The idea of a fairy coming to save you doesn't scare any of you. I actually thought it was pretty light and kinda fun. I don't dislike it. I thought it was alright. It's pretty easygoing, just like you, Finland. Easygoing, easy in what way, exactly? Alright, time for the next lighthearted story, please. A lighthearted story? I'm sorry, I haven't prepared one. I'm sorry. You don't have to tell one. Chapter 2, America's Scary Story. Is it my turn? Oh, I don't mind going second, really. No need to worry. I'm not always obsessed with being number one, you know. Liar. You are always particular about going first. No. Only when my pride is on the line. Hey, your double-act comedy routine looks like it's gonna drag on, so can you tell us your scary story already? This isn't a comedy routine. Okay. Well then, let me tell you about this scary story that I personally experienced. This was when a huge herd of buffalo were charging towards someone's house and I had to catch them, one by one, and turn them away with my bare hands. Oh, not that one, please. What? Aren't you afraid of a herd of buffalo stampeding towards your house? Sure, you could call it scary, but it's scary in a way that's just way too bizarre. The scene where the boss buffalo rushes at me is so thrilling that it makes me tremble. But I sent it packing and the house was saved. I'm more scared of Mr. America himself than the buffalo. Looks like I'll just have to tell the other story I have about zombies and monsters piling up into a mountain. Simone, tell us a scary story that feels a bit more relatable. Okay. Don't worry. I have plenty of other scary stories in store for you. This is the story of the time I met an alien in Area 51. It happened when This is the story of the time I met an alien. It happened when I was playing an invader game in Area 51, when my boss suddenly called me in. Hey, don't be so hasty, America. TTTTT, that's right. Surely that's top secret information. This is auto forward. It happened when I was playing an invader game in Area 51, when my boss suddenly called me in. Hey, don't be so hasty, America. TTTTT, that's right. Surely that's top secret information, isn't it? You're putting us in danger just letting us hear it. Wait, we're not looking for the type of scary that's gonna get us executed. Hahaha, I'm glad you guys got scared right away. What's with that look on your face, England? TTTTTTT. Compared to my thrilling and inspiring buffalo story, this is just a children's fairy tale. Don't worry, just have a listen. Compared to my thrilling and inspiring buffalo story, this is just a children's fairy tale. Don't worry, just have a listen. I'll take your word for it, then. Please, I'm totally counting on you. Don't be scared. What makes this story real scary is how seriously my boss takes his elaborate pranks. So my boss called me in, and the two of us made our way down to the 21st basement floor of Area 51. The 21st floor? I'd heard that the basement in Area 51 only went down to the 17th floor. What's going on here? I asked my boss, getting straight to the point. Earlier I told you that there was someone I'd like to introduce to you. This entire floor is for this person. But that didn't answer my question. I do owe you a sincere apology for keeping this a secret from you. The gentleman I'm about to introduce is an extraterrestrial, and he works here in Area 51. An alien? Was he telling me there was an actual alien working here in Area 51? Allow me to introduce you. This is Metasia, from the planet U78342, of the GH53473 Nebula. He's here visiting the United States under our technology partnership agreement. And then I saw before me a perfect lookalike of my roommate, Tony. Pleased to meet you. This is my first time officially meeting a country. There's no one like you on my planet, so if you don't mind, please tell me about yourself. Tony's lookalike was talking to me in character as an alien. I mean, if some random old guy came up to you and said I'm an alien, you'd laugh, right? I kinda lost it too. Come on, don't scare me like that. When the boss told me so seriously that he had an alien, I almost believed him for a second. But my boss and the alien both just stared at me, all flabbergasted. Come on, you guys. If I'd fallen for the alien prank, you were gonna upload the video to Hetatu, right? But I had to admit, this Tony lookalike was quite a unique and interesting guy. Hello, Mr. Tony lookalike. Wow, the resemblance is uncanny. You related to Tony or something? Is what I told him. No, I'm just a normal alien. Who's Tony? That was what he said. Alright, so he was gonna commit to playing an alien character today. Okay. Then I'd play along too. What a backstory. It's pretty interesting. But the planet should have a cooler name that's more memorable. You don't want people forgetting it when it's turned into a movie, do you? You must be mistaken. Wouldn't my appearance just immediately make you think, oh, this guy's an alien? And I'm pretty sure your friend Tony is an alien too. But Tony's a real American. He's the kind of guy you'd see all the time walking down the street. So to say he's an alien. TTTTT. Also, look at him. Isn't this the United States of America? Special effects makeup must be a piece of cake. So I said, haha, okay. If you really are an alien, you should be able to make crop circles. Photoshop CC, crop circles, is outside my area of expertise, so I'm afraid not. Sorry about that. What? So in the end, he was just a guy who looks like Tony. I can't believe my boss went to all this trouble to find a lookalike of my roommate and pull this kind of elaborate prank on me. My boss is cuter than you think, isn't he? Anyway, we all had a good laugh about it, and soon enough I got to know him very well. He seems to be really into serial dramas. Even though there are so many different dramas out there, his favorite is The River. His tastes are out of this world, am I right? We were having a good time talking about dramas, when he suddenly remembered something. Oh, speaking of The River, would you like to take a ride on my ship? It's more convenient than the one on the river. Is what he said. Whoa. You have a ship? I definitely want to go on a ride. I mean, I do like cruises, so I immediately replied with an enthusiastic yes. Working at Area 51 must pay well if he can afford to buy a cruise ship. Please wait a moment. I'll call my ship now. Is what he said. We were in an underground research facility, right? No way there would be a river running through there. Besides, the idea of a ship that comes when called is pretty unique. I figured maybe his dog's name was Ship. He's amazing, this guy's jokes were next level. And then, he traced a circle in the air. And after a deafening noise, the room vibrated, and from the depths there was. Redacted by the United States. Redacted by the United States. Redacted by the United States. Redacted by the. We were in an underground research facility, right? And then, he traced a circle in the air. And after a deafening noise, the room vibrated, and from the depths there was. Redacted by the United States. 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 We were in an under. And then, he traced a circle in the air. And after a deafening noise, the room vibrated, and from the depths there was. Redacted by the United States. 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 And that's the story of how me and Tony started living with our new friend, Mata. Auto forward. And that's the story. Auto forward. Auto. And that's the story of how me and Tony started living with our new friend, Mata. Was it really alright for us to have listened to the story you just told? Thanks for the story, dude. I didn't hear a thing. I certainly didn't hear any classified information or anything like that. Haha. The sky sure is beautiful today. Chapter 3, Japan's Scary Story. I shall be the third to speak. Thank you all very much for your attention. This is more of a strange story than a scary one. A gentle rain was falling on that particular evening. My errands had taken me longer than expected, so I found myself hurrying home later than intended. The streets, lively and bustling during the day, were deserted and quiet at night, giving me the illusion of being in a completely my errands had taken me longer than expected, self-voicing disabled. Self-voicing enabled. My errands had taken me longer than expected, so I found myself hurrying home later than intended. The streets, lively and bustling during the day, were deserted and quiet at night, giving me the illusion of being in a completely different place. The only sources of light came from the dim streetlights and the distant glow of residential lights. On a rainy day, they looked even weaker and dimmer. Looking down, the lights of streetlights reflected in the puddles would jitter restlessly as the rain fell. Looking down, the lights of streetlights reflected in the puddles would jitter restlessly as the rain fell. Looking down, the lights of streetlights reflected in the puddles would jitter restlessly as the rain fell. Because of where the wind was blowing that day, I had to hold my umbrella in front of me, which obstructed my view ahead, and caused me to worry about my footing and anything that could be behind me. The road alongside me was long and straight, and yet, no cars were passing by that day. All I could hear was the sound of rain. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. Just the sound of rain, wasn't it? Amidst the rain, I heard footsteps that weren't mine. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. At first, I thought it was the echoing of my own footsteps, but I could clearly hear the sound of wet footwear coming from behind me. The pitter-patter of feet lifting from the wet ground, and the eerie squelching of water being squeezed out of shoes as those feet landed, echoed, one following the other, in the quiet alley. I made 2 turns along the way, but the footsteps continued to follow, at the same distance, at the same interval. I wanted to believe they weren't following me, but it was unsettling no matter what. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. For some reason, hearing that sound sent shivers down my spine. Perhaps it was because it was just one of those nights. I felt indescribably tense, and not wanting to be rude by staring, I glanced behind me from under the cover of my umbrella. Through the space between the ground and the brim of my umbrella, I saw the hem of a kimono, soaked with water, and toppy socks and zora sandals discolored with mud. There wasn't a festival that day, and to my knowledge, there weren't any classes in that area that involved wearing traditional attire. It's uncommon to see a Japanese man wearing traditional clothing. And rather than being soaked by rain, it looked more like he had fallen into a body of water. I wondered what had happened to him. Even as I filled my mind with thoughts to escape the small sense of fear that had sprouted within me, that sound followed me at the same pace, maintaining a distance of about 5 meters. Pit-pat, 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 pit-pat. Just hearing the eerie sound behind me made my harrowing delusions grow without end. Under these circumstances, I resolved that upon crossing the next street, I would make sure to get a proper look at the other person. It would be rude to be afraid of someone based solely on one's own imagination. Right? And so, holding my umbrella higher than usual, I made a 90-degree turn to the right, and looked both ways before crossing the street. First, I looked in front of me. Then a bit further ahead. And then, bracing myself, I looked behind. It was then that I finally saw the full figure of the man behind me, the one who had been making those noises. He was me. At first, I thought that I was looking through a mirror, but he had no umbrella, and was dressed in a completely sodden kimono, whose fabric, heavy with water, shimmered dully in the light of the streetlights behind him. Whereas, on that day, I had been carrying an umbrella, and more importantly, I had been dressed in Western-style clothing. And yet, he looked exactly like me, to the point where I could mistake him for a mirror image. What should one do in a situation like this? What would any of you have done? I'm ashamed to admit that I was so shaken by this mysterious being that I took out a folding umbrella from my bag and said to him, "Please feel free to use this." As soon as I handed it to him, he ran off without a second thought. When I returned home, I realized I must have been so disturbed by this person, that I was completely soaked, despite carrying an umbrella. Sigh. A man who looked exactly like me, wearing a kimono, walking behind me at a steady pace, completely soaked, without an umbrella. Why had I felt any need to fear him? Furthermore, he was already soaked from head to toe as if he had walked into the sea fully clothed, so I feel terrible that the umbrella I handed him probably ended up being not only useless, but also an additional burden to him. That night, I slipped into my futon, but I found sleep elusive, because I was so preoccupied with the man who had so strongly resembled me earlier. With sleep out of the question, I decided to lie there in bed and turn my thoughts to him. With sleep out of the question, I decided to lie there in bed and turn my thoughts to him. Perhaps we just happened to share a resemblance. Or perhaps he was a doppelganger. In the end, I laid awake until 5 in the morning, which was quite the ordeal. It really is no good to overthink things. So I have come up with what I think are the 5 most likely possibilities of who he might have been. The first, a normal person who looks very similar to me. I think this is the most likely scenario. But if that were actually the case, then I'm curious as to why he was walking at a fixed distance from me, without an umbrella, without seeking shelter from the rain, and letting a precious kimono get soaked. That's terrifying in its own way. And the second possibility, it's what Westerners call a doppelganger. In the West, a second self, like a doppelganger, is often regarded as something impure or ominous, associated with death or misfortune. However, in some regions of my house, it's seen as a deity that has manifested by taking on a human form, or a sign of good fortune. So, while mysterious, it's not something to be feared. And then the third possibility. It incorporates some sci-fi elements. There are several of them. One possible reason could be that, if something happens to me, or if a situation arises that could lead to drastic changes, there are replacements. A stock, so to say. We might not know it, but perhaps there are replacements not only for me, but all of you as well. Fourth, Bhutan-san was visiting my house to do some personal sightseeing. While he was out wearing a trendy kimono he had rented, he got caught in the rain. He didn't know where to purchase an umbrella, and he couldn't bring himself to ask, so he followed me. Is the theory. Everyone does say that Bhutan-san and I look very similar. On a dark, rainy road at night, it's likely for me to even mistake him for myself. And since he's very shy, it's possible that he couldn't bring himself to talk to me. I tried asking him directly about it afterwards, but it wasn't me, but even if it had been, please don't trouble yourself over it. Was the answer I received. Had it or had it not been him? If it was Bhutan-san, I feel really terrible for making him go through that. And the last one. Personally, this was the one thing I didn't want to consider. No matter what, I can't get the fifth possibility out of my head. Which is that I'm getting old. Got it. No matter what, I can't get the fifth possibility out of my head. Which is that I'm getting old. Got it. Auto forward. Got it. What? Are you actually experiencing some symptoms? Well, I used to be able to clearly see mountains in the distance, but these days I hardly get a chance to see them at all. I've been afraid to even check. I know it's wrong to only look at what's right in front of me. Ugh, I sound so pathetic. It was dark that day, and it was raining, plus there was a bit of distance between us. But I can't shake the suspicion that even though I thought I saw him clearly, I might not have actually seen him that well. And, I guess you could say, things have just been feeling strange lately. I've been leaving the remote or newspaper in odd places, or I end up spending my day off just lounging on the porch, oddly petting my dog. Somehow, I can't help but feel like I'm slowing down. Back in the day, whenever I had free time, I would have kept myself busy with work, hobbies, and travel. And yet, when I realized that these days I can only manage to lick a Gary *R icon, even though I was able to bite into one when they were first released, you could not imagine the despair I felt. The sensation of brain freeze hitting me directly when I bite into one. It's unbearable for me nowadays. It can't be due to old age. We're not supposed to have human-like symptoms of aging. Yeah, there's no way we do. You sound like you're trying to convince yourself. I'm actually getting on in years too. But I'm fine, right? Yeah, I'm totally okay. That's rather concerning, so I'll look into it myself. Please provide me with the location and your testimony in detail later. Alright. That concludes my story. Thank you very much for listening. The next speaker may please proceed. Chapter 4, Germany's Scary Story. Is it my turn now? I'm at a loss. For the past few days, I've been plagued by, what's commonly referred to as a bizarre phenomenon. I consulted Romania, and he asked me to bring it before all of you at today's conference. But the matter was just resolved yesterday. Well then, I'd like to hear the story of how it was resolved. Alright. Then let me tell you about what had happened. A few days ago, a strange phenomenon began occurring in my house. Specifically, it involved a suit of armor, on display in the hallway of my house, which seemed to be moving of its own volition at night. Go ahead and laugh. Now that I think about it, I don't know why I was so shaken by this phenomenon. One morning, I noticed that the suit of armor, a purely decorative object, was in a different place than the day before. Furthermore, its exterior seemed shinier. I didn't give it a second thought at the time. But from that day on, late at night, the sounds of clashing swords and creaking armor could be heard inside my house. At first, it was only the noises, but by the third night, the armor began to appear in front of me. Of course, I gave chase whenever I would encounter it. However, despite being fully clad in heavy metal, the armor would evade me with ease, even when I ran after it at full speed. Also, despite my house's tight security, the armor appeared without triggering a single alarm. Who the hell was behind this? Why was this happening at my house? If anyone has a complaint to make against me, let it be done in person or in writing. Ahem. With no other options left, I decided to observe the armor. What I learned was that I saw the armor most frequently near the office. And for some reason, it would boot up the computer on its own. I had always believed that every supernatural phenomenon could be explained scientifically, but here was a suit of armor that could somehow slip past all the security in my house and outrun my fastest sprint. Was there a way to prove this with science? Had the owner become a ghost, now haunting the suit of armor from his glory days? I had begun to entertain such thoughts. However, according to my research, the person who commissioned this armor, its original owner, never actually wore it in battle. This armor itself was, from its creation, an ornamental piece that prioritized design over practicality. The mystery only deepened. Why did it decide to animate itself in the modern era? There was one more inconsistency. The suit of armor that came to life in my house at night was actually an amalgamation of pieces from two different suits, made from different manufacturers from different times. If the spirit of the original owner had indeed possessed the armor, would he really have refashioned it like that? Sorry, Japan, there's still more. Hang in there. Apologies. And then, yesterday. The suit of armor was sitting in my bedroom. This armor, who was behind it? Lately, I had been getting so little sleep that even the smallest noise would wake me up, so I didn't think that it could break in without me noticing. Who are you? When I cornered him. It's the awesome me. Was what he said. So the culprit was just your older brother from the very beginning. Actually, when I asked him for an explanation about the very first day of the strange phenomenon, he said it wasn't him. And you believe that? It seems like you brothers get along well and have a lot of fun together. Chapter 5, England's Scary Story. Rejoice, you lot. At last, you get to listen to my story, the one you've all been waiting for. And it even has a ghost in it. That's right, it just appeared right out of nowhere. So there I was, on that day, racking my brains over a mysterious mushroom recipe France had foisted onto me. Had I ignored it and left it tacked to the fridge, he'd of course go out of his way to tell me. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Next time, I'll bring you the finest ingredients, perfect for a novice. As well as kitchen utensils. Would you like me to bring you the kind that children use? And he'd smirk at me like a right brat while he did so. But even I don't need to be told what to do all the time. You see, I know for a fact that almost anything can taste good if you mince it up, mix it with cream, and stuff it into a pot. Ah, that kid completely underestimated me. Thinks I haven't changed a bit. I wish he'd been there to see my culinary prowess. I've improved to the point where I can freely adapt even French ingredients. What's more, I was so efficient with time and ingredients that I even took the liberty of making a stargazy pie out of the leftover pastry. Isn't it about time you lot revised your perception of me? But it was at the very moment that I was showing off my cooking skills that it appeared, out of nowhere. I was taking advantage of the time while the pie baked to spread some Vegemite, which Australia chucks into my postbox once every 27 days, onto some jelly deals from the previous day. I can't concentrate on the story because of what's on his menu. And right there was a ghost that I didn't recognize. AG, ghost. Right in front of you. How terrifying. It really did come out of nowhere. This is where our story takes a truly terrifying turn. Ghosts at my house are required to have a certificate of residence, so that we can have a better idea of where everyone is. But an unfamiliar ghost had appeared in my house. That could only mean. Sorry for showing up late. I went ahead and made shows for everybody, so y'all better forgive me, yeah here? Act. Oh, my bad. Am I interrupting something? Bloody hell, what a nuisance. Don't interrupt me at the best part of my story, Manker. My bad. Spain, you uttered what? Oh, it's totally fine. I was gonna write the stories down later anyway. It's a matter of pride for me. I'll be over at your place later and make you listen to the whole story again from start to finish. Oh, I've heard that people will forgive you if you add me out to your sentences in situations like this. That's so. I'm why sorry. Stop it. You're doing my head in. Great. Chose. The Chose are here. I missed you, Chose. Chapter 6, Spain's Scary Story. Really, I'm mighty sorry I'm late. I've been out sunbathing so much, I felt like grass was about to sprout from my head. Now then, a scary story, what? Mine's the kinda scary story that I find creeping into everyday life. I'll get right to talking then. This here's the story of what an Asian tourist had experienced. Let's call him MR Wang for now. For some reason, when I think of an Asian person, I just picture MR Wang, yeah no? I blame Italito's movies for that. One summer, this Mr. Wang feller came over to my place on a solo trip. All the things he'd never seen before had Mr. Wang's heart pounding with excitement. See, my house is pushing hard on tourism now, so y'all should come visit too. Looking for a vacation that can't be beat? We can give you exactly that. If and yeah, don't let your guard down. Since it was his first time visiting my house, Mr. Wang didn't know right well that a whole lot of dark shadows were done in after I'm. This here story takes place when Mr. Wang was strolling through a famous tourist spot. Postcards. Buy yourself a postcard. A voice called out from below, coming from this boy about 10 years old. He was calling for people to buy some postcards. Well now, ain't that just adorable? Thought Mr. Wang, so he figured he'd go ahead and buy a postcard. How much? €8. That's mighty steep. €8 for one single postcard. That's darn near my lunch money for the day. Wait. You all think that ain't enough or something? Seriously. Ain't that a normal amount? Maybe I'm just specially broke. Yeah, sounds about right. I ought to bring it up with my boss next time I see him. Oh, so Mr. Wang thought €8 was steep too, but somehow seeing that cute kid pouring his heart and soul into selling postcards just made him want to support him. Despite his misgivings, he still decided to pay the asking price. Mr. Wang's rich, ain't he? But a second Mr. Wang cracked open his wallet. The rascal jumped up, grabbed a bunch of €100 notes out from Mr. Wang's wallet, and hightailed it out of there. Mr. Wang took off after him, but that little rascal was mighty fast. He whipped around the corner and then booked it right into a tight alleyway. Mr. Wang's a guest at my house. What did that kid think he was doing to such a fine visitor? Something ought to be done about them delinquents. If they could just live a normal life, with all the social welfare and support systems available, they shouldn't have to resort to theft. I wonder what the local government's doing about that. I suppose I should reflect on myself too. Or maybe they're making so much money that they find it ridiculous to work a regular job. I bet they're eating way better lunches than I am. Oh, sorry. Back to the story. Where Mr. Wang went wrong was following that peddler kid into an empty back street. But he was already long gone, leaving Mr. Wang alone in that empty alley. Feeling dejected, he just stood there. Then all of a sudden, he couldn't breathe. The hell? What was going on? It was that new chokehold robbery technique that's been running rampant lately. As the name suggests, they strangle victims and then snatch their bags during the scuffle. Cause of all the loot to be had, they resort to seriously wild methods, like strangling. I wonder if the savannah would make for a better place to live. Mr. Wang was grabbed out of nowhere and got choked before he knew what hit him. And just like that, they snatched his bag clean off him. Well, if he kept dawdling, there was no telling when he'd encounter a second or third strangling. Mr. Wang reckoned he ought to tell the police, so he decided to run off and search for them. When he made it back to the crowded plaza, there just so happened to be a lone cop wandering about in just the right place. Thanking heaven above, he asked the police officer for help. "Vet? So you got a passport or what?" This was an emergency. What was with that lukewarm response? Even I could show some sense of urgency. "So, what are ya doing today? If ya got no money, ya can't stay at a hotel. Go to the embassy and head home. See ya." Geez, this cop had no intention of listening to his story at all. Using a translation program he had on hand, Mr. Wang conveyed what he wanted to say. "I still have my passport, and thankfully my credit card wasn't stolen, so I can manage to stay at a hotel. But there are important things in that bag, so I absolutely must get it back." Then the officer said, "All right, I'll come with you then." Until then, he'd been giving off a "you're so annoying, go away" energy, but all of a sudden he started paying attention. Well, Mr. Wang was in a desperate situation, so it would be an issue if he wasn't taken seriously, wouldn't it? But this cop was just strolling around, neither gathering details nor searching for the thief, and wasting time with pointless chatter. Now I don't know if he was thinking, I've been hit with 2 incidents back to back. Show some urgency, or what, but Mr. Wang's impatient tone urged as much. "Sorry about this. These types are organized, see. They're mighty clever at covering their tracks and finding places to hide. So it won't be resolved until the whole organization is taken down. When we bust them, your bag and wallet might surface, so you ought to file a report," is what he was told. That's just how it is in Spain, I guess. It's a different country, so the police must be different too. It didn't seem to particularly surprise him. "For now, let's head to your embassy. Just a short walk from here. I'll file a police report, so sign here for me. Standard procedure." Being Asian, you might not be aware, but some European countries have this thing called name days, with each of the 365 days being associated with a name. When's your birthday? I could give you a European name. So, how many people are in your family? Got a wife? How old are ya? At first, Mr. Wang was right irritated with the police officer, but gradually started wondering. Could this guy deliberately be talking in a leisurely way to ease my tension? He started thinking along those lines and began to trust him. Before long, they arrived at a building with the flag of Mr. Wang's country proudly displayed on the outside. The police officer claimed it was the embassy, but wasn't it a bit too casual for an embassy? Weren't there supposed to be security guards or something? "Now then, I gotta verify your identity with your passport and credit card. Let me have a look at them real quick, okay?" Still desperate to get help, Mr. Wang complied and handed them over. Passport and credit card in hand, the officer disappeared toward the embassy, with a charming smile. But the officer never returned afterwards. So he was a fake cop all along, eh? On top of that, he'd been getting Mr. Wang's personal information while making small talk. What a terrifying man. Turns out, that wasn't even an embassy at all. It was just some restaurant that had the tourist country's flag on display. He must have slipped away through another entrance. It would have been easier to understand if things had been in English, right? But Spanish ain't as familiar to Asian people, I guess. So no wonder Mr. Wang didn't understand, then. Seriously, when you travel, it's probably a good idea to memorize important words beforehand, even if they're basic. I'm also going around keeping an eye on things. What happened to Mr. Wang, you ask? Well, after what just happened here, he actually came to my place to complain in person. And that's how I heard this story. Getting a new passport takes an awful lot of time, so Mr. Wang's misfortune is going to continue for a while longer, yassy. I thought he'd never come back, but Mr. Wang keeps making regular visits whenever he has some free time. Makes me mighty happy, I tell ya. A toast to my irresistible charm. I'll go around enforcing the rules and patrolling, but seriously, those guys coordinate way too damn well. Whenever I'm patrolling, they scatter like flies. But when I go somewhere else, they just quietly creep back. What in the world is going on? Ghosts. Could they be ghosts? These guys can predict my every move. Ugh. Tourism takes up a huge chunk of my economy, yassy. So things like this shouldn't be happening. Well, that's the end of my story. If any of y'all have any good solutions, let me know. Come to think of it, I forgot whose house this happens at, but... apparently there's a scam where women suddenly bare their breasts to distract tourists, then pick their pockets while they're stunned. Really? Well, if she's a beaut, it ain't a problem. It ain't a problem. Yes it is, you twat. Ahem. It seems the seventh person is still yet to arrive. Yeah, this person's even later than Spain. So maybe whoever it is forgot about it? That would make it only 6 scary stories. That just doesn't sit right. Should I tell another story then? Oh, tell me. I ain't heard anything light and fluffy yet. And next time, I'll tell a story that isn't so lighthearted. Chapter 7, the final scary story. Coming through. Everyone. Thank you all for gathering here, Toti. If it isn't Romania. So you're the one who's going to tell the 7th scary story? Oh, nope. I'm not the 7th person. Oh, right. I came over to bring little something for you all as thanks for today. Is that so? But all 6 of us have just finished telling our stories. Did y'all forget to invite the 7th person? That's mighty clumsy. Oh, he'll be here soon. Any minute now, yeah. I see. That's a relief. Boy, what did you bring for us, Romania? Oh, right. Some sweets and juice. I'll hand them out now. Yeah. Hell yeah. Handmade cookies and cake. What's that all about? So cute. Looks like the kind of thing a teenage girl would make. Hehehe. I guess so. Oh, you should try some too, England. Might as well. You did come up with the idea for a fun meeting where we get to tell scary stories. And I suppose I'll give you credit for having good taste and inviting me to be part of the group. Ha. Gee, thanks. Wait, you said you would be busy, didn't you? And I thought that this meeting was because Enbert from the Magic Club. Oh, I just happened to have a bit of free time. Wait a minute, okay. You know, Bulgaria. Well, you'd better go home now. What do you mean? Don't tell me you were planning on taking all the credit for yourself. That's not it? You just gotta go home as soon as possible. Should I be worried? Yeah, sorry. Okay, then I'll leave the rest to you. Yeah, thanks for everything today. Hello. Hey, everyone. Sorry to keep you waiting. It took me a little longer than expected to get ready. Night. Russia. So you're the last one who will tell us a story? It's as if you planned it that way. Nice timing, right? You You saw right through me. I'm no Russia. So you're the last one who will tell us a story? It's as if you planned it that way. Nice timing, right? You saw right through me. I'm no match for you, You saw right through me. I'm no match for you, America. It's you. Well, somehow I had a feeling it would be you. Well then, I'll be the last to go. Oh dear. I don't know any scary stories. What should I do? I know. There's a few letters here that are addressed to me, so I'll read them out loud. Yeah, that's a good idea. Here's the first letter. Let's see. Mr. Russia. Are you getting fat? My house is cold, so I'm just a little big boned. Whoever sent me that letter must live pretty close by. Now for the next letter. Dear Mr. Russia. I think people fight because things like borders exist. If we could take away all the borders in the world, everyone's hearts and minds would surely become one. It's amazing that someone as young as yourself is thinking about global issues. So, why don't we start small for now? First, let's get rid of the concept of your own house and try mixing up and swapping your family with all sorts of other families. Your hearts and minds will surely become one with those of people you don't know. Whether it's big or small, that's what you desire. So do your best. I like that everyone has their own unique personality. If everyone's hearts and minds were the same, then I think I would be spending my days bored to tears. Wouldn't you find it incredibly boring if America and England didn't stand up for themselves? But I do like your way of thinking. It would be difficult to become completely one, but even though it may seem dull, I think it would be lively and fun if everyone with their unique personalities lived together under one roof. But as things stand, it would be pretty hard to make happen, wouldn't it? You bring someone along, holding them tightly by the hand, only for them to disappear the second you take your eyes off them, right? Honestly, Lithuania. But if I just keep petting them, they'll smile at me, though it seems like it'll take a long time before we can actually live together. So I got to thinking. How could I get everyone to come to my house just as they are now? Not like in the old days where I brought them over, but rather, I want them to come over on their own initiative. That would be better, right? So I created a drug that would make everyone fall in love with me, while remaining who they are. I just needed to store and dissolve things, thinking maybe like this, and it ended up being made. It's okay. Don't worry. Your personalities won't change at all, so you'll still be able to say you don't like it and stand up for yourselves. But if I were to firmly ask you to do me a favor, you wouldn't be able to refuse me. Now that I've said all this, you might be able to figure it out. Yeah, that's right. For today's conference, I am so sorry. I'm sorry. Everyone. What do you mean? Russia is holding my little brother hostage at his house. I mean, he's doing a friendly exchange program there. So, these snacks I just handed out? Stop. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Come on. Romania, don't spoil it ahead of time. Eh? Could it be that the drug he just talked about was in the snacks and juice? DDDDD. There's no way you can make a drug like that. That sounds like something England would come up with in one of his fantasies. Oh, of course. It can't be possible for a drug like that to be real. Hey, what kind of person do you take me for? I wonder. I guess time will tell. You tricked us. I ended up eating a ton of sweets. What are you talking about? There's no way a drug like that exists. No, he may not be lying after all. Since the old days, whenever Russia put his mind to something, he'd somehow always pull it off. Think about it. How many times has he said, I don't know how, but I've created something amazing? Isn't Russia exactly the kind of person known for casually doing things that make you wonder how on earth he managed to create that? It does ring a bell. Even if it really did work, it shouldn't be possible to keep controlling the brain permanently. But even if it's temporary, we'd be made to drink it again while we're being controlled, so wouldn't that be game over for us? Yeah. No way. There's no way. Oh, I reckon if we get far enough away that we can't hear his commands, we should be fine. Well then. Let's head on back home. The doorknob's stuck. It'll take a bit of time for it to take effect, so let's stay in this room a little longer, okay? Forgive me, everyone. But we're going to become really good friends from here on out, so everyone will be happy, right? Why? I'm sorry, everyone. This is terrible. Damn it. It's too cold. I can't muster up the strength. What's with all this snow? If I could use my usual powers, then I'd show this guy. That's kind of a death flag, dude. Man. Why are you reacting like this? I tried my best to meet you guys halfway. But it'll be alright. I'm nothing to be afraid of, you know. Let things take their course. I'll stop him. 01 / save to save #1 name. Save slot 04. I'll stop. M. Mr. Russia. Stop that right now. Auto forward selected. M. Mr. Russia. Stop that right now. Hey. What are you saying? If you say that to him, well, I can't say that Mr. Russia and I are close friends, but I think we have a better relationship than other European countries, so I don't think doing something like this will cause too much trouble. Okay. Okay. Well, I can't say that Mr. Russia and I are close friends, but I think we have a better relationship than other European countries, so I don't think doing something like this will cause too much trouble. Okay. If I hadn't gotten caught up in this, I would have just gone home like usual. Plus, I'll get to show everyone. Well, I can't say. Auto forward. Well, I can't. Hey. What are you saying? Well, I can't say that Mr. Russia and I are close friends, but I think we have a better relationship than other European countries, so I don't think doing something like this will cause too much trouble. Well, I can't say that Mr. Okay. Okay. If I hadn't gotten caught up in this, I would have just gone home like usual. Plus, I'll get to show everyone else my good side, too. Yeah. Oh, I see. Bulgaria, you're so amazing for being able to save the day and show yourself off while you're at it. I didn't eat any of his sweets. I'll protect you all, even if I have to act as a shield. So you're saying you're going to be everyone's shield, Bulaka? Alright. So you're saying you're going to... I didn't eat any... So you're saying you're going to be everyone's shield, Bulaka? So you're saying you're going to be everyone's shield, Bulaka? Alright. If you say so, then I'll hold off for today. Oh, for real. Thanks a bunch, dude. Wow. Really? Ha ha ha. Russia, if you're going to back down over something like this, then I reckon that whole drug thing was just a bluff after all. Just a bluff, probably. It was a bluff, right? And so, thanks to Bulgaria's quick thinking, the situation was ha ha ha. And so, thanks to Bulgaria's quick thinking, the situation was resolved smoothly. And so, thanks to Bulgaria's quick thinking, the situation was resolved smoothly. The rumor about Russia's drugs was vaguely mentioned in the 7th story, and later, England recounted 100 stories on his own, so they were published in the school newspaper as 107 scary stories. It was all wrapped up neatly, more or less. Or so it should have been. NNNH. What was I doing again? Why, what is this? Wait, what the hell is going on here? Good morning, Bulaka. Your acts of heroism were impressive. Mr. Russia. Sup. But why the hell did it have to turn out this way? Oh, wait. I mean, what's going on here, Mr. Russia, sir? You said you would take their place, didn't you? Not like this, I wanted to sacrifice myself in a much cooler way. Mr. Russia, I think my relationship with you is pretty good, don't you think? Someone always has to play this kind of role. It's a tradition after all. Tradition? What kind of tradition is this anyway? No, meow. Wait, that's... But you weren't there when we talked about that, Mr. Russia. That? It's the magic word that will let you get away with anything you want. Oh, that's right. I'm glad you managed to stand out. Right from the start. Right from the very start. I like hearing all of you talk uninterrupted. I feel like it has a healing effect. But come to think of it, this is actually a pretty sweet deal. Thanks, dude. Thanks. You're surprisingly tough, aren't you? Thanks for downloading and playing. We hope you enjoyed it. Bonus. Aphrodite Jones, Jemai Wade. And Bear GR asterisk LLS without their eyes covered. Extra image. Japan sand in the rain. The original image is quite bright. Sweden. Selected. 01. Load save hash. Load slot 1. Load save hashtag 0. Let things. Hold it, Russia. If you don't put. Auto. Hold it, Russia. If you don't put an end to this, I'll have to stop you. Fufu. I'm afraid I can't comply with that request. Fufu. I'm afraid I can't comply with that request. Besides, you don't have that kind of power right now, do you? It's true that I don't have the strength to fight you. But that doesn't mean I'm giving up. That's right. As long as you believe, your dreams will come true. It can't be. Where did you get that kind of power? This can't be happening. And that's the plot of the movie I plan to make. Pretty interesting, right? Wait, are you making me the bad guy again? America, you actually like me, don't you? Hold on. Why did you jump to that conclusion? Because you always insist on making me the mastermind, even when it doesn't fit with the story's historical context or setting. I can't help but suspect that the reason you use to reveal that I'm the mastermind so much is out of affection for me. NOOO. It's just that you're the first thing that comes to mind when masterminds and schemes are brought up. Is that so? I think I'm more upstanding than you, you know? After all, no matter what happens, they say that I'm the one behind it. Well, they're not wrong. But since it's so obvious and everyone can predict it, you can't really call them schemes or masterminds. Why, you have a point. From a cinematic standpoint, it's way too easy to guess who the mastermind is, it's just nonsense. So, who's going to be the mastermind this time? Other than you. How am I supposed to figure that out? And that's how we end up with another typical movie from you, America. I'm not saying you should go as far as France's movies, but try to put a twist on it. You can also go off the rails in the last 5 minutes like Spain does. In that case, I've been thinking about a new type of ending recently. The twist isn't going to be all the strange phenomena in the house were caused by aliens or an ally gets turned into a demon and everyone dies, right? Damn. You're tough to please. Selected. 01. Load save. Let things take their course. I'll stop. No. Here's right from the start. I like hearing all of you talk uninterrupted. But I like hearing right from the start. I'm glad you right from the I like hear but come to think of it, this is actually a pretty sweet deal. Thanks, dude. Here's delete all hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. Version 0.1.9, display, save game names, show save thumbnails, skip unread text, keep skipping after choices. Hetascanlations. Hetascanlations. Barber. Hetascanlations. Barber. Activate. Hetascanlations. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. Version 0.1.9. The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. Version 0.1.9. Full fan remake and translation of the Hetalian Horror Show by the Hetascanlations team. Remake credits. eosonera. Programming. Spaghetti. English translation. Sunflowerpieivan. Russian The Hetalian Horror Show Remake. The Hetalian Horror Show Self-voicing disabled.